Remember loving Snow Day as a kid? We did too. But watching it now as adults and as parents, that teen romance hits very differently. We are revisiting the 2000 Nickelodeon movie to break it all down and see if it holds up. Find out our thoughts as we watch another movie at Grandma's house. Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Make yourself comfortable. I'm your host, Isaac, but I like zebras.
And this is Seth. I can stick my whole fist in my mouth. Want to see?
Oh, very nice. What is Grandma putting on for us today?
2000 Snow Day.
Okay, and before we jump into this, and we're going to break down what our viewing experience was like revisiting this movie. This is your spoiler warning. So if you've not seen this movie, consider yourself warned. Well, let's jump into some film facts. Let's get to know a little bit more about this film called Snow Day. It was released on February 11th, 2000. It is now 25 years old. The budget was $13 million. The box office, $62.5 million. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb sits at a 5.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, 29%. Letterboxd is a 2.6 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can see it on multiple platforms for free, such as Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, YouTube, Hulu, and many more. It stars Chris Elliott, Mark Webber, Gene Smart, Chevy Chase, and many more. It's in association with Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Movies. Last but not least, we got to hear how Grandma is going to rate it.
Granny's family-friendly rating for Snow Day is a B- for adult themes and crude humor.
Okay, and be sure you leave us a comment down below, your thoughts, your rating for the film. We'd love to hear your thoughts and memories concerning this film. Again, turning 25 years old as of this recording. So let's start with our first memories. I'm really interested to hear, Seth, what was your first memories with Snow Day?
I'm pretty sure we rented this movie. I don't remember seeing this on the big screen. I do remember thinking very highly of it with lots of laughs. My family really enjoyed it.
Cool. I had an experience of maybe similar. I don't think we ever owned it, but I do remember watching it. I want to say it was maybe on rotation on cable or some channel where they play movies, and that's how I got to watch it. Probably Nickelodeon itself, because it makes sense being Nickelodeon Studios. And I thought it's okay, but even for the time, I was kind of like, there's some like more adult, older things going on with it. And honestly, I haven't seen it since then. So it has been probably 20, 25 years since I had seen this one. So yeah. With that thought, then, what were your expectations coming back on the rewatch?
So probably what you're thinking, just hoping it would hold up after 25 years.
It's so crazy thinking 25 years ago, just how much has changed. So yeah, I'm now watching this with 4 kids of my own. And that was my concern. I'm like, I remember some adult stuff. So I hope this isn't too much for them. As much as this is targeted to kids, I hope they have a good time with it. And you know, we have some at least good laughs out of it because it's that Nickelodeon humor. That's what I recall about it. Well, before we get into a plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. Let's take this VHS that is orange, because you know it was back then with the Nickelodeon. Let's put it in the VCR and press play.
When you were a kid, did you ever pray for a snow day? Well, Natalie Branston did. One night it came true. Her plan was to hijack a snowplow to keep from plowing the whole city, causing another snow day. Her big brother, Hal, is trying to win over the affections of Claire Bonner, come witness the chaos this winter family movie brings.
Okay, so yeah, that is a great summary of the plot. There's a lot of moving parts of following this person, what's going on this day that becomes unexpected. It was forecasted that there was no snow, so it's kind of neat. You're seeing different perspectives going on. There's your main characters, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What's like your first impressions as you're watching this film?
Believe it or not, my first impressions was of the soundtrack. The soundtrack was very dated. But that being said, the movie had a lot of laughs in it, so it still held up to some standard of what would be good today. So there was some good moments and bad moments, but it was interesting.
Okay, so hold the phone. You said that the soundtrack is dated. I have to know, is that a positive or a negative?
It's just I'll say it later in the podcast. It's a time capsule. This movie is a time capsule. When you listen to the music in the movie, you're like, wait a second, this is 25 years old.
Yes, I'm sure we'll dive into it more, but I'm thinking, I'll get your thoughts later on.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's definitely not current.
No. I'll make a confession on it. Like a few of the songs that played, I was like, I forgot about this song. So exactly what you're saying. It kind of takes you back in that time capsule, but it has that Nickelodeon feel for sure. Mm-hmm. That's the impression I get. Is this is a Nickelodeon movies production. It has that similar effect of this could almost have been a TV show. And maybe that's a fun fact you have. Maybe it was, but it's just that, I don't know how else to put it. The soundtrack definitely aids it. It puts you in that time frame. The 90s was just dominated, if you were a kid, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Saturday morning cartoons, those types of things. So I was instantly pulled back into that. That's something I really like about this. It's a good thing, as a positive. Sometimes dated can be, oh, this is not good, but I like that about it. Mm-hmm. But there's like I said, there's some adult themes and things like that. The plot pretty much centers on a very adult tone of this kid named Hal that has a crush on the popular girl. I mean, that's kind of your standard story, but it's pretty, more adult. Like, it's not just this puppy love. It's a lot more involved. I have to hear your thoughts on like the plot that centers around that and maybe that aspect. What were your thoughts on that? Might be a loaded question because there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. Okay, so what I thought was a little odd was because I looked up the actor and the actress for the love story part of the movie and their ages, and she was older than him, of course, which is common, and it just felt a little awkward at times. Did it feel awkward to you?
Yeah, there was no chemistry. I'm just going to go out on blatantly say there was no chemistry there. That's a big
I would
issue.
agree with that statement. Yeah. As far as the plot goes, though, I thought it was a strong plot. This is, like I said, a time capsule, whereas you could watch this movie, watch another movie from, let's say, I don't know, 2010. Watch this movie and then watch another movie from like 2015. And you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this was made in 2000. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it definitely is that time capsule of what the early 2000s were and maybe some of the awkwardness that were in the late 90s, mid 90s movies that you don't really see so much of anymore.
Yeah. That's a...
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a great word to use, is awkward. I actually made notes of like cringe. There's a lot of that. I'll just say the impression, again, going back to the plot, there's several plots going on. There's that one.
Yes.
And we're going to have to break that down because there's so many things I want to talk about when it comes to that. But just to kind of touch on the plot as a whole, you have his sister that you mentioned in the plot summary. She is the one that wanted the snow day to happen. It comes about. However, there's this snowplow man that is going to ruin everything, and she wants to have multiple days. So that's I really, really like that. It's so much fun. It's great for kids because it's that Nickelodeon was always, kids rule and they're the ones that are calling the shots. It's kind of like that fun side of it. Then you have his parent, Hal's parents, the mom is busy with work, but then I like her story arc. We'll maybe touch on that more, but she's just always on the phone, that kind of thing. And then Chevy Chase is the father. He's the meteorologist that actually is the first to predict the snow day, but this rival meteorologist takes credit for it. So he's kind of trying to overcome this, like, he's the second fiddle to this guy. So I like those aspects. There's all kinds of characters, and I wouldn't say they're like these amazing characters, but outside of your main ones, I think they're pretty solid. They have their own quirks about them. You have the sister and her friends. I think, what was his name? I meant to write that down, but I think he went on to have his own Nickelodeon show. He was kind of the more husky, chubby kid.
His character name is Wayne. I think it's Josh Peck. Is that what you're talking about?
That's it. Josh and someone else. But anyway.
I'm not good with those. I mean,
I'm not either.
Like 99, after 99, I'm not familiar with any of the kids' TV shows.
I'm exactly the same way. I'm so glad you say that, because I say that and people are like, you didn't hear of this or watch the show? It's like, I'm sorry. I think I was just getting too old, and that was for a younger demographic at that time.
Now, movies, on the other end, I do know movies that have, kid stars in them and stuff like that from that era, but I stopped watching that kids TV shows right around 99, 2000. So
me as well. I'm glad that you said that, but it's a fun, I would say the plot is solid. I agree with you. It's a good plot. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it out to you. What is the next thing you would want to touch on? Because I feel like there's a lot that we can unpack with this one.
Oh, as far as the next subject to talk about?
Yeah, do you want to
the plot?
Yeah, the plot wise, what would you want to focus more on?
Honestly, there's a side plot that doesn't really go anywhere with the principal.
Yes,
the principal is supposed to be tortured by all these kids because of snowballs and everything, and he's trying to get to school and he can't, and it's comical, but they don't do anything with it. They show him 3 times in the movie, and I don't know. I thought that was it was funny because he kind of was rubbing it in that they weren't going to get any snow, and he was dancing and singing, and then they got all that snow. That was pretty funny. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, it's unrealistic. Again, this is a silly movie because he's acting like these snowballs are hindering him from getting in his own house. At the end, it shows him in the house, but real life, he's going to call the police and press charges against these kids for nuisance. You just tearing that part of your brain off. It's, again, a Nickelodeon silly movie, but I thought it was a fun little touch. Yeah, again, going back to the kids' rule, this is their day and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll put a little button in the how love triangle dynamic, because I think that'll be the deeper one. I want to hear your thoughts more on that. The plowman, because that's played by Chris Elliott. I like the stuff that he's in. So what did you think of that whole story, that plot with the snow day plow itself?
Honestly, I think they could have added 5 or 10 more minutes of him.
Yeah.
It was really entertaining. It was very, all the jokes landed for sure. And I thought it was hysterical when he kidnaps the kid.
Messed up, but
I know
funny.
It's wrong. It's wrong, but it was funny the way they did it. So I don't know. There's something about that scene. It was the way it was shot. It was comical. We could talk about it if you want. The love triangle. I just feel like in a kids movie, it's not necessary.
Yeah,
like a family friendly movie. If there were scenes that felt awkward, cringe-worthy is what you're talking about. That's perfect wording. The whole he's infatuated with this girl that has no idea who he is. That subject has come up in many a movie, which I didn't think it really added to the storyline at all. What I did like was that I think her name is Lane, was the other girl, and she added to the story, for sure. And they could have done a little bit more with her. Maybe like at the beginning of the movie, he could have went after the other girl, and then in the middle of the movie could have noticed his best friend or whatever,
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. I would definitely have done that differently if I were in charge, but that's a very weird. How do you feel about it? It was a very weird.
It was weird. Yes. Watching it with your kids, they actually wanted to turn it off. That's how they were feeling about it. They're like, and I asked them, like, why? It's, and it was, I don't like this romance, whatever. It was a little too strong. I think exactly how you put it was correct. You can have that, but for a family friendly, they're not going to be interested in that. And I think they were targeting maybe the teen kids, not the kids.
Yes.
Is that how you feel?
Yes, and I feel like if they hadn't have focused on it, it might have worked.
Yes.
Like it being like a subplot, but it was actually the major plot of the film. And I think it distracted from the other funny elements, and it didn't feel right. It didn't land right, in my opinion. And that's probably the biggest thing besides the music that didn't hold up very well is that love triangle. It's kind of awkward and not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the best way I can put it. It wasn't well done, like you said, because my gripe was has this crush on her and she doesn't notice him. But he's got this like traditional character of, I'm so nervous because she doesn't know who I am. He gets that bracelet because she's on the swim team, the diving, and she loses it. He's like, oh, this is a great way to break the ice. And at one point he walks up to her and he's so nervous he can't give it to her. And that's fine. I'm like, that adds to the character of, like you said, a traditional story. My problem gets to where going back to his father is on TV and he hears about it. He rushes down and goes on TV and professes his love for her. So it was so inconsistent because it's like, okay, that just killed his character because you're building him up like he's more of the shy, that's intimidating. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I can just go on TV and I can tell everybody how I feel and be completely embarrassed about it and not care. It was a completely change of the character and it bugged me for some reason. And then that's bad enough. Later on, they're at the skating area on the pond. He has his friend Lane, that was her name, he said, trick the conductor to go out. And then he goes in there and then does it again over an intercom and plays music and does all these stuff. And it's like, okay, what happened to that character at the beginning? And maybe if he built that courage up over time, it would feel more earned. But it didn't feel that way to me. Is that how you felt?
If I went that route, let's say like the studio was forcing them to have this love triangle, I would have made it very short and sweet because he's infatuated with this girl. She pays him no attention. She could have just said no right off the bat. Yeah. And then the other girl could have consoled him, and then he realizes he has feelings for her. That would have made for a way better movie.
I agree. Yeah, it's just every time it came back to that, I kind of went, "Oh no, we got to get back to this," because it was fun. Like if it was, Chevy Chase and that was even getting to be fun. And I will admit, this wasn't Chevy Chase's best role. It felt like he kind of phoned it in a little bit at the beginning. He's still solid here, but this isn't like one I'm going to think, "Oh, he was so amazing in Snow Day." This was. But it's still entertaining. I enjoyed his story arc and, again, all the other characters. I liked all the other stories except Hal and this inconsistent crush because Blaine professes her love for him. Like, I thought, you would kiss me today because he said anything can happen. That's the whole thought of with the Snow Day, anything can happen. He goes to Claire and then they kiss. So he's had 2 kisses. That just rubbed me wrong too.
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
No.
Yeah.
And you know what also kind of tells you how inconsistent it is her boyfriend. What was his name? Claire's boyfriend.
Oh, I didn't even write it down.
Chuck or something.
I love the actor. Can't stand that character.
Yeah, he's a terrible actor. He's just a airhead, And he meets up with and he's like threatening him again. Like, you shouldn't have messed with them. And he's like, hey, nothing happened. And I even said at this TV, you guys kissed. Something did happen. So that bugged me so much. You can tell my anger is coming out about this. Like, I did not like this story arc, the love. It could have, exactly like you said, done so much better. It's not that it had to be taken out. Like, I don't like that. It's just how it was done. Oh, if you
would target this movie for 8 or 9-year-olds, make the Snow Day and the snowplow and the principal and the weatherman the main subjects, the main plot points, this movie would have been hilarious and it would be so much more enjoyable. But then they put this love triangle and it's like, it don't fit in the movie. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't jive. It doesn't go. Like you said, it's not done well.
Yeah.
And that's my big complaint about this movie is that they could have left that out or made it smaller. If you made it right at the beginning of the movie and then let it go, then you probably would have forgot about it by the end of it. So
I agree. It's like two different movies. That's the best way I can describe it. Is that's a whole movie on its own of that love triangle because they put so much focus on it. And then there's all those other things. I think, like you said, if they would have tweaked it a little more, even take Claire's character out, just have Hal is off going. Maybe he's getting older and he's wanting to be with other friends and impress them. But Lane is kind of with him and trying to give him hints. And it is until the end that he realizes, oh, kind of the same idea. But just take that Claire character out. I think she's the one, unfortunately, that ruins that. It makes it just like, why is this so inconsistent? Why you don't feel good about it? You're like, this just feels awkward. And I could take it or leave it. But anything else that you want to touch on? I think that's the big elephant in the room when it comes to this movie. But what are some other things to maybe touch on?
I mean, I really enjoyed the humor. I do agree. Chevy Chase had moments where it seemed like he wasn't trying as hard, but there were a lot of jokes that landed really well. And I thought that his scenes were probably the majority of better scenes in the film. I love the interaction with the kids when they build the fort and everything, like the igloo or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that. That stuff was brilliant because that's what I did when on snow days. And when I was a kid, oh my goodness, I love winter and I love snow. But that's what I connected with, was with the kids playing and, you know, the plotting against the snowman, snowplow man or whatever. I just thought that was really funny. I mean, we could go on, but it's well said. I mean, what you said was perfect. So
that's what's so frustrating about. I think this is a frustrating movie because everything else I really enjoyed. My kids actually, like I said, they went from I don't want to watch this anymore to they actually got into it. They were belly laughing, not just chuckling.
Right.
They were laughing out loud at stuff. And I'm like, this is great. This is what it needed to be. More of what they're laughing at. The storylines with the kids against the snowplow man, Chevy Chase, and even with the mother, you know, she has fun at the end. I really like that scene because her youngest son throws a snowball at him and she's on this really important business call and she just leaves the phone. It's like she finally lets go. The whole plot, you know, climax is met.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's another subplot that was really well covered.
Yes.
I mean, why couldn't they have maybe extended that scene another 2 minutes or something?
Right.
Or the build up to that scene. Another fun fact for you that's not in my fun facts is her business partner is Chili from TLC.
Yes.
And those scenes they could have had at least 2 more of those scenes in that movie, I thought.
Yes. I was going to bring that out. It was like that screams 90s too with TLC.
Yes.
And she's really good in it.
And Nickelodeon too.
It was FaceTime. So it was ahead of its time of 2000s.
Yeah.
I know it existed, but I guess that's showing you the premise of she's in a good job, wealthy because they have FaceTime. That's unheard of back then. But she does well, even though it's a FaceTime section, she's just like, I walked all the way to work and she like puts her foot up, you know, I was in the snow. I thought she was great. She's a very minor character, but she did her job. She's very effective in that way. That was something I was going to touch on. Yeah, I love the humor though. Going back to like you were saying, the humor's so good. Like the skating rink, the guy's playing really boring music, and a kid actually falls asleep while skating, and then it's over. Like the kids were laughing at that. I was even laughing at it. It's silly, but it's still fun, silly, and like there's a lot of farts from that character Wing. I mean, it's constant, but it matches the Nickelodeon. You should know what you're getting into. So maybe it was overdone for some people. I saw some reviews. I kind of saw they were like, I didn't like the jokes. I got kids that age, so I had a good time with it. If they went a little further, maybe I wouldn't have liked it, but I thought it was about right. I don't know, but yeah. Anything else maybe to touch on? What about the soundtrack? You mentioned that it was a little dated, but was there any that you did like?
Well, there was an 80s song on there I liked, but it was more of the style of music. Like it's very angsty, like it's about to get to that emo section, you know what I mean? Like it's right there, and it was interesting. I just thought it wasn't out of place, but it was out of place for the time that we're in now.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It was. I like the Smash Mouth song. I mean, that's just fun.
Yes.
And it matched the scene and everything. I forget the band's name. I'm going to kick myself. But they did They had Kiss Me, that was their hit song, but they did There She Goes. And I thought that matched the scene too. Like, again, if you want a love triangle, and it could have worked. I just, again, go back to they didn't handle that very well. But I agree with you. There are some misses maybe on the soundtrack, but it's still very solid. If you like that era of music, it really does take you back to that time. I just wanted to make sure to bring that up again because it's, again, that 2000 film through and through. When you're watching this, it's going to take you back to those Nickelodeon days, but the soundtrack aids it very well, I think. All right. Well, you mentioned some fun facts, so I am anxious. Let's not delay anymore. Have at it. What kind of fun facts you got?
Strap in for this one.
Okay.
All right. We're going for a journey. All right. This is a fun fact. I'm not making this up. A real bank heist took place near the filming location, and the felons drove right past the production assistant, who immediately alerted everyone on set. The felons were surprised to see that they were driving through a film set. Shortly before driving headlong into and becoming stuck in a fake snowdrift, the police immediately apprehended the two bumbling crooks, to the amusement of all on set.
That's incredible. You wonder, it probably you have to do some more research. But do you think there was any kind of film of that happening that they kept in?
Well, I'm 100% sure they probably couldn't use it because it was actual crime. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't put out like actual crime footage without getting permission from the law enforcement and the state probably. And
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's got to be in there. I'm going to have to do some digging after this for sure because that's fascinating. That's awesome.
What I love is they didn't stop. Like if you saw a movie being filmed, your instant, I would get out of the car and run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't just keep driving. And they drive into a snowdrift that's fake.
It's pretty lifelike then. It did its job. Not just looks wise. It actually did the job of what snow would do.
Oh no.
Oh, that's amazing. That's definitely one of the best fun facts we've had for sure. That's up there.
So you actually kind of touched on this. I don't know if you know this fun fact or not, but you're going to love it.
Okay.
So originally this was slated to be the Adventures of Pete and Pete movie. It was going to be the movie version of the TV show we grew up on. And that somehow I guess the studios must have wanted a Snow Day movie and that's what they got. So, and I know the director directed the show, so he was probably pushing for that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that it does give you that feeling of like Pete and Pete. I was a big Pete and Pete fan growing up. Probably if you watched Nickelodeon, it was a popular show back then. So that makes sense. They were probably thinking, let's make this into a movie. That's unfortunate because I think if it went the Pete and Pete route, it would have focused more on the humor, on what we're talking about that this needed more of. There's a lot of what ifs. Maybe it would have ruined the show. Who knows? Maybe they would have done it wrong. But still, that's still pretty cool to think about. That the what ifs are really cool.
So it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready? It's true or false?
Okay, I am perfect so far. I hope I can keep the streak going. Here we go.
All right, here's a wild one for you.
Okay.
Chris Elliott was asked by the director to stop brushing his teeth to play the role of the snowplower. True or false?
That's got to be true. I don't care if I'm wrong, but that's got to be true.
It's true.
Yes. That just sounds like a Chris Elliott thing. I mean, he's a minor. He's not like this big star. I don't think people really realize it, but he's hilarious. So
I really hope that they also added to his teeth because they looked so bad.
They did.
They looked so bad. So when I read that, I was like, oh, that's a little bit too disgusting. Should I mention it?
Yeah. We didn't touch on his character that much. I mean, we kind of did, but he, like you said, you have Chevy Chase, but he's great. I loved it. And
I think the bird was just as much a character as he was.
Yes.
Yeah. Trudy.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then he goes into what is her name? The sister to Hal? Because I remember Hal. But,
Natalie.
Okay, Natalie. He goes to her house and he's saying, hey, your daughter has a free ride in the plow truck or whatever. And she's like, and you are, they call you the plow plowman or whatever. And he's like, yeah, you can call me Roger. And I don't know, just his demeanor and how he plays like this crooked, like guy that hates kids, you can tell. And
yes,
the Trudy character, it's just fun. It's just fun. It's silly,
very fun.
But yeah, it's just unfortunate he wasn't in it more. I agree. He needed more screen time. So
I would give him 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
They could have added and the movie was short.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could have added at least 5 or 10 minutes. Give him 8 minutes. That would be a perfect add to the movie. Like, I wanted to bring this out before we go.
Yeah.
So there's a fun fact I found where they said there's a deleted scene where they're at the pool. I guess the main character wasn't looking. Hal wasn't looking, but she throws the bracelet into the water because she had an argument with her boyfriend.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now.
And then they had the argument, and then there was in the movie, I don't believe there was anything that led up to the argument. Like, it was just they were broken up.
Yeah.
And that scene would have added to the film so much more.
I think so too.
And it was a short scene. A short movie. Why not add it?
It's too many questions on that. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
They could have done so much better. It was there. They just, I don't know. I was not a fan. A
little bit of toying with this film, I think it would have been amazing.
I agree. Because there's some fun to be had in this movie. It's just, man, I don't know. But that's what we're thinking. I'm very interested to hear what kind of reviews are out there. So Seth, what kind of reviews are out there?
So first review is from Mitch -38, said, standard coming of age flick with a few good moments, 5 out of 10.
So they middle of the road, kind of the same thoughts that we have there, just kind of inconsistent. It feels like they kind of felt, maybe that's the tone that we're getting from a lot of people, but we'll see.
All right. It's funny that you say that. Matty Matt Forever says, gets off to a very icy start, but runs more smoothly as it goes along, 5 out of 10.
Yeah. Another 5. I do agree it does start out slow, and that's fine. You got to introduce the characters and stuff. But if it kept going the way it was, because it was really focusing on Hal and that dynamic, then it definitely wouldn't have had as much fun. I think there's more fun to be had once you get past that, for sure.
And lastly, J White-3 says, sure, it's silly, but kids and the kid-minded will love it.
Wow, so they really like it. But yeah, I do agree that the parts with kids should have a fun time with it. Go back to my kids, they were laughing at that. Not just even the fart. I mentioned the fart parts, but they were laughing at the principal getting hit with snowballs. They were laughing at even the part where Chevy Chase gets pushed down the snow hill, the sled.
Yes.
They cracked up at that. They thought it was funny. It was just, I hate coming back to it, but every time it would get back to Hal, it was almost a start-stop feeling like, we couldn't get going.
And what's funny about that is it didn't bother me when I was younger, but it bothers me now as an adult. I'm like, this is so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Just move on and we'll laugh at something else. You know what I mean?
Right. I just couldn't wait for it to get out of the scene. Like, okay, you've done whatever you're doing, your huge spectacle of stuff. If you're not making a big whale in the snow or this or that, it was like just becoming a scene of let me gush over you over and over. And that was just like, okay.
And it's not the actor, it's more the writing. The writing was just not fitting with the rest of the film. And that, like you said, it's like it's not cohesive.
Yeah.
So
it didn't flow with the rest of the movie. It would just, again, we'll get down to it. I keep coming back to that, but I can't help it. So, well, let's do it. Let's make it official. Let's give our rating for this film. So I got to ask you, Seth, for Snow Day, how are you going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
So a lot of laughs and a good premise, but I will gladly watch this at grandma's because it didn't age as well as I'd hoped, and there were more crude humor than I originally thought.
Okay. You can already know I did not like that love triangle that was going on. I had a good time with the rest of this, though. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, my kids were laughing. It was neat to kind of see them change. Just, I don't want to watch this movie. And then they were really getting into it. And doing the whole like asking questions because like the principal was getting hit with snowballs and they're just like, what, why, where's he going? And it's like, he's getting ambushed. He's just trying to get away, that kind of stuff. So that was fun. But I have to say, this was one of the most hard and difficult movies to rate. I'm conflicted because the love triangle just really rubbed me the wrong way. It was so cringe. I was just like, oh, that it's a hide it in the attic. But I do like the other parts of this movie. So I'm so right in the middle. And I think what's going to happen is if you ask me on a different day, I'm going to give you a different answer. Today, I think I'm going to hide this in the attic. And it's just, it's like, I hate it because when someone would say, let's get Snow Day out. If grandma's like, let's watch Snow Day, I'll go, ooh, I'll cringe a little bit because the first thought is that love triangle. And that's sad because I think there's a lot of fun, like I said, to be had here. If you like snow, I think you might be able to get past it. Maybe that's just me because it's a great snow movie. Like if you enjoy winter, this nails outside of the love triangle part of it. Everything else is just fun. Like you said, they make an igloo, there's sledding, there's snowball fights, there's ice skating. They went through the checklist of like what you think of with winter. So to me, it's like, man, this is such a missed opportunity. Today, I'm going to hide it in the attic. Maybe I'll get this back out because it's not deep in the attic. Maybe I get it out and I'll change my mind, but that's just how I feel today. That's what I'm confident in going with.
I don't fault you for it. In fact, I was close to it as well. I think where it went wrong was they tried to make this into a young adult movie.
Yeah.
It had no business being that. This movie was supposed to be for 7 to 9 year olds. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And they threw in that love story trying to make it for, is 15 to 17, 18 year olds, whatever. And it just doesn't go.
No, it just didn't click. I think when it gets down to it, I'm going to agree with you. The studio might have got involved and said, you need to cover all these ages. So they were doing for younger kids, for maybe pre-adolescents and then teen. Because that's what that love triangle is definitely aiming at, is the teen version. They even make a comment, the characters Hal and forget her name now, Lane. They even say like, remember back in 6th grade? So that's telling you like that was a long time ago. 6th grade is, kind of you're older. So this is like high school, teen for sure. And it was unnecessary. If they could have done a better job with it, I think, like we've discussed, I think this would have been so much better. But unfortunately, that's kind of a stain on this movie until I revisit it another time. Maybe by a random chance, I'll come across it again. But for now,
maybe when your kids are older, it'll be more appropriate.
Maybe, or they'll still think it's awkward because then they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. That's
true. That's true. I didn't think of it that way.
I have kids all not teenage years, and I'm not looking forward to that part of it. That's maybe that's why I don't like it, because it's going to remind me of those years I'm going to have to endure.
That's true. Oh boy. Woo.
But there it is. There it is, folks. We have watched another movie at Grandma's house, and we want to make sure, again, comment down below. We want to hear your memories. Are we right? Are we wrong? Or, what are your thoughts on Snow Day? We'd love to hear your thoughts. So be sure you leave us down a comment down below. Well, before we wrap up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. Check out our great newsletter, and we are on Patreon. And as always, go to movieposters.com and use the code Grandma's House at checkout for up to 15% off.
There you go. And with the newsletter, if you're on there, another perk is you can win a free movie poster from movieposters.com. We have a random drawing once a month. All you got to do is be on the newsletter. You will be automatically entered in for that. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house, but don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.